Christmas to all the fantastic Newcastle United fans. Murdad and I just wanted to thank you all for the incredible support that you've shown us this year.
Thank you very much, everybody. We really do appreciate your support. We're hoping you're having an exceptional day with your families and friends. Merry Christmas, and we look forward to 2022.
Merry Christmas.
Hi folks, it's Jamie. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all our incredible supporters in Newcastle and around the world for the support they've shown us and the team this season. It's greatly appreciated. I know at times it's been tough, but better days are coming. I also want to recognise the incredible generosity shown by our supporters to the Newcastle Food Bank, which is providing invaluable support to those most in need in our community and showing once again we're not just a football club, but we're the heart of a great city. So I wanted to wish everyone connected to the club a Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you all at St James's Park very soon. Thank you.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل وليد. Lads and lasses, welcome to Newcastle with وليد with the coach Jimmy tonight. Happy Boxing Day, Merry Christmas to all. I hope you enjoy and hope Jimmy have good presents this year. And welcome, Jimmy. You are our sponsor for any Manchester United game.
Yeah. There was a more important Jamie on here a minute ago, weren't there? So I enjoyed that little message, and it's lovely that he's recognising the work done by the food bank as well. Really classy little message of him. So well done there, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie, for coming and give us some time. I know it's busy time of the year, and you are celebrating with your vacation, and happy holidays to you. Also, I would like to thank you for some quality time we spent together when I visit Newcastle. We have some memories there. Thank you for that as well. So you are the sponsor for our Newcastle and Manchester United games. Let's play this part and come back.
Expecting them to get better, but then they got absolutely hammered the other day, didn't they? 5-0. So it swings and roundabouts down the bottom of the table. One day you can have a good result against Liverpool, and then you get a beating like 5-0. So it's like there needs to be a little bit of, there can't be too much of this. It's got to kind of even itself out with results, and they're exactly the same as Sheffield United. They need better players in this window, and they need to start winning games quickly, or they're going to be in the Championship next season.
Like our friend Martin, he says, this is the beauty of the Premier League. Everybody beating everybody.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. You pulled that one back, didn't you? I had a little bit more hair then.
It seemed like ages ago. That was 1 year ago.
It was a big show. That was a long show.
Yeah, it's famous show in history. It's less more 4 hours.
Yeah, it did. Just I'd like to say as well, just before we obviously talk about the game, a big Merry Christmas to you and your family and everybody in Saudi as well. I hope you are enjoying this time of year like we are doing back in England. So yeah, happy holidays to everybody that's watching as well.
Thank you, Jimmy. That's nice from you. Let's start with your team. I hear on Twitter you are doing good with the Rack to New Camp.
Yeah, we are doing very good. Yeah, there they are. There's the boys. I should have told them that I was coming on, because some of them love the old podcast scene. So they would.
Yeah, we would be happy to do a specific show for them if you like.
Oh, that would be lovely. I'm sure they would all tune in.
Yeah, we can screen 10. Yeah, we can host 10 players.
We'll see if we can get them on. I know one of my young boys, Lennon, absolutely fantastic little player. He does his own little podcasting on TikTok for Newcastle. So maybe he'll come on and say hello, and what a little player he is as well. All of them absolutely brilliant, absolutely fantastic. They have every single one of them breath of fresh air to coach every single week. And we're top of the league. We are unbeaten this season. We've played 12, won 12. So a massive shout out to every single one of them, because they're an absolute joy to work with, and we're doing absolutely fantastic in the league this year. We're top of the league, and we've got a big new year coming up. So hopefully they're not eating too many sweeties in Christmas. And if they do listen to this, then don't eat too much sweets, because we've got a title challenge to push for. But every single one of them, a massive shout out to them. Brilliant, been absolutely brilliant this year, our lead, honestly. 17 games, 17 wins, including last season. So massive shout out to every single one of them, and a big mention to Phil as well. Yeah, that brought me in as an assistant manager. Absolute breath of fresh air as well. So yeah, we're doing amazing, mate, and I would love to do a little shout out for them as well. So if we can put a little show together, our lead, I would absolutely love that, mate, and I'm sure all the parents would get involved with that as well.
Happy to. Just name the time and day, and congratulations for this. I hope this results will continue.
Thank you very much.
And you look very tall in this picture, Jimmy, with this hat.
It's the hat. They're only small goals.
You're over the post. Over the post, yeah.
Thank you very much for asking about them, mate. They'll absolutely love that. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Brilliant. Welcome, Jimmy. Okay, so before we go into Manchester and Newcastle, tell us about your Christmas in Newcastle, because I'm kind of missing Newcastle already.
Yeah, I've had a nice Christmas. Me and Adele went to the Phoenix window and had a little. I'm sure you're accustomed to that. It's quite famous up here. We went and had a little bit of hot chocolate together, and like a little day date, and we went and seen the Phoenix window. And you know the vibe in the city, mate. It's a fantastic place to live, and everybody's all Christmassy. All the lights are up and everything. So it was really nice, and we went, seen the street food markets and stuff like that. So lovely, mate. Absolutely lovely. Like, you can't beat Newcastle at Christmas, mate, when all the lights and everything on. Everybody's in a cheery mood and having a few beers and stuff like that. So yeah, really nice, mate. I went and spent Christmas with my mum yesterday, and we had a nice, quiet Christmas. Nice, good, nice. A couple of beers, some nice food, and we went and walked the dogs around the big lake, and it was really nice, mate. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you.
I had actually, and this is a new confess, I had two choices, either to come the time I came to Newcastle or to come to Christmas. So I was thinking, I said, Christmas, everybody will be busy with themselves, with the families, with the friends, so it's better to come, and I think it was a good call.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I think you had the week of your life down here, didn't you? Oh my God, you were absolutely everywhere. I couldn't keep up with you. I was just like constantly on Twitter, like, my God, there he is there again. Like, and then Alan Shearer gives you a message, and I'm just like, God, is there anything this guy can't do? And then you're sitting behind the new manager before he's even been introduced. I'm just like, this guy is absolutely everywhere. But it was so good. It was like, in England, we've got a thing called "Where's Wally," but it's like "Where's Owly?" That's what it was when you were down here. But obviously, you came to my house as well and watched my team play as well, which was absolutely brilliant. One of the highlights of the year, getting to finally meet you, mate. So it was an absolute pleasure as always.
Thank you, dear Jimmy. Thank you very much. And really, it was a really good call to come that time. Okay, so also, this picture, I saw it earlier, and you mentioned something about the stand. Or maybe I didn't get the message, but I think you need to do a new one after taking off the Sport Direct.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Well, they're the fancy seats, our lead. I can't afford them, and I definitely won't be in them tomorrow, that's for sure. I'm going to be up in the heavens with the Man United fans. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back into St. James's Park tomorrow. I haven't been there for a long time, but it's going to be a little bit different tomorrow, because I was trying to work it out earlier. I've probably been to watch Newcastle about over 40 times, I think, and I've never, ever been like in the away end. So it's going to be a little bit different for me tomorrow.
Yeah, that's the part I didn't get.
Yeah.
The other side.
Yeah. It was, this photo was taken years ago. I think Adele took the picture. Adele was there with me. That was Adele's first game at James's Park. So I took her to a game, and that's my hometown. That scarf. So I take that scarf absolutely everywhere with me. Yeah. So
because I was saying, I said to myself
all over.
Because when I saw this picture, I said, "This is which team? Is it Newcastle or Manchester United?" I didn't know.
Yeah, I think Because this year marks my 11th year of living in Newcastle. So my dad bought me that scarf because that's like my hometown club, where they're only a small club. They're sort of in like the Northern Premier League in English football, which is quite low down.
What's the name of it?
Corby Town.
Corby Town.
Yeah,
Nice.
Corby Town. Yeah. So
Corby Town.
that scarf was bought as a Christmas present for me off my father about 6 years ago, and it's been everywhere. I took it to Borussia Dortmund Stadium and had a picture with it. It's been to Prague. It's been all over. So I take that scarf everywhere. So if I ever come to Saudi, maybe one day, you never know, then that scarf will be well.
Of course, and you really
tradition.
You have to come either Newcastle or Manchester United come to Saudi Arabia. You have to visit our country, and you are welcome, of course. Okay, now let's talk about. We'll talk about Manchester United and Newcastle regarding the coach, because you are coach Jimmy, and we need this analysis from yours. We'll talk the formation plan, and then the needs in transfer window. So you are a guest from Manchester City. So we will start with Manchester United. So Ralph, the new manager, the German, is it now the fashion is to get Germany? You know, you want to be like Chelsea, or what's the story?
I presume he was the prime candidate. Yeah, I feel like it probably is a little bit of a trend at the moment, going for a German coach. But I think a lot of United fans have had enough time to research him and understand he's a very good manager, very technical. He's very set in his ways on how he sees football. So, yeah, it's, I think it's a really good appointment, and I think it's a sensible appointment as well. I think we're under a little bit of pressure, maybe from our fan base as well, to get a manager in after Ollie went. So I feel like we've used our head. We've brought somebody in with a lot of football knowledge, a very good background in German football, which I really like German football. So I was delighted when I heard that we were going to bring in Ralf Rangnick. I've known about him for a long time. I do like to study certain managers that play certain ways, and he come on the radar really a few years back when he was doing really well in the Bundesliga, but AC Milan wanted him, and he was really close to joining AC Milan, and that's when I was really digging into him, because he wanted full control of their club, as in recruitment and everything, and apparently the deal fell through because they wasn't allowing him to do that. But he seems to have a consultancy role within the club for the next 2 years, which is fantastic, because we don't have a lot of footballing people at Man United. It's one of the major problems. So I feel like I just don't know how it's going to go, وليد, I'll be honest with you, because if he does really well, how can you just get rid of him? You know, it's such a difficult one. If you speak to Man United fans, which I'm sure you speak to Man United fans in general, not just me, and I'm a bit like, I don't really know, to be honest, because it's like, if he does well, just like Ollie did, well, we give Ollie a chance, so why not Ralph? But I honestly couldn't give you a straight answer to whether that will happen or not. But if results go the right way, he maybe brings a couple of fresh faces in. I just like the fact of, I mean, he's technically is a very good manager. We implement on the field. We're not quite there yet. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of it tomorrow, as he's had a little bit more time to work with the players. I'm sure you won't want that, but that's what I'm hoping to see tomorrow. And just keep progressing and getting a little bit more defensively solid, which he's definitely implemented into the team, which is great, because we were leaking goals left, right, and centre under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's picked players that Ollie wouldn't trust, so to speak, like Telles, like Dalot, and these players are doing really well, and they're really important to the way we want to play the game, you know, with attacking fullbacks. So his formation is completely different to Ollie's. He's trying to work out who he can trust and who he can't in each position, which is great. Everybody's getting their chance. He's given the youngsters a chance as well. But everybody knows what he can do on the football aspect of it. But the one thing I've been the most impressed with, وليد, is the fact that players like Pogba, players like Lingard, these players in the club for a ride with regards to not signing deals and their agents leaking information every single time, and he's not having it. He's just like, if a player doesn't want to sign their contract, I'm not going to beg them to stay. If you don't want to stay at Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, then go and do your thing elsewhere. And I love that. And we ain't had that for years. You know, we ain't had that since Ferguson. So players like Pogba and that, everybody knows their ability. Anybody watching this show will know Paul Pogba is a fantastic player, but he doesn't want to sign the deal. His agent constantly keeps leaking stories that he wants to leave, and he will leave, and he will listen to offers, and United's offers on the table, but we haven't signed it yet. We're weighing up our options. His agent doesn't care about Man United. And I feel like now we've got a manager in that's not just transforming the ideology of the team on the pitch, but the way we're handling our dealings. And he's saying, you know what, if you don't want to stay, not a problem at all. I'll help you pack your bags. Because and I feel like for the first time since Ferguson, we're actually building for longer term. And I'm quite excited, mate, to be honest with you. I really am. I don't know. I'm not expecting too much this season. But if we can get in the top 4, and then we can go from there. If we get in the top 4, he's done a good job, and then we'll see where we are in the summer. But I feel like no matter what, we're going to sign a world-class manager anyway, because if we don't keep him, we're going to go for somebody like maybe Ten Hag at Ajax, someone that has the same philosophies and vision of football as he does, and he'll work on the recruitment side of things and let the manager manage. And it's all positives at the moment, mate, to be honest with you. There's not a lot of negatives on the pitch and off the pitch. So, yeah, I'm quite happy, mate. Maybe this German thing's the way to go.
Yeah, right. And I think Ralph, he's a good manager and deserves a stronger team to show really his abilities. If you know, after Sir Alex Ferguson, the choices weren't that precise, wasn't that strong names. It was just more experimental.
Yeah.
And all the school. But this one is, as Klopp says about him, he says he something he mentioned, like he afraid from him, or he's the father, our godfather in Germany, something like that.
Yeah.
Regarding the players, you're talking about Pogba and the Parasite. Parasite.
Yeah, Steve loves Pogba, don't he?
I believe, in my opinion, Pogba and Fred, they are responsible for the 50% of the damaging of Manchester United.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I do get why fans are frustrated with Pogba. Like, I am as well. I think I've always been like an advocate for Pogba to stay, because I've always just looked at his ability. But when you actually assess when he came back from Juventus, he hasn't been consistent. He's consistently had 2 or 3 injuries every single season, and I think now it's just the time to go. And I feel like a lot's going to change, our lead, with Man U's recruitment. I feel like we're going to start going down maybe an RB Leipzig route, because if we're honest here, and I don't like saying it, but it's the truth. Like, we're nowhere near Liverpool and Man City at the moment. Like, do you know what I mean? So we have to try and change something, because what we're doing, it's not working. And you've got the likes of Tottenham that are looking strong now. Chelsea look really well organised. Newcastle in the next 2 to 3 years are going to spend big money, whether people like it or not. And the competition's getting vast. So I feel like they need to change their attack a little bit in the transfer market, and they maybe need to go for them players that are not top level players that can come to Man United and develop. And I feel like that's probably the route we're going to go down. So it's quite exciting, to be honest. It's the first time since Ferguson left where I've actually had a manager and I'm like, do you know what? Like, this is actually really exciting, because we generally just don't know where it's going to go. But I do feel like there's definitely going to be more effort scouting wise. The recruitment, I think, is going to be a lot better. Of course, we're going to sign players and it doesn't work out. That just happens. But if you look at the recruitment of Ralf Rangnick when he was at Leipzig, from Division 4 right the way up to the Bundesliga, he didn't get many of them wrong. So I know Leipzig, in comparison to the size of Man United, is just non-comparable with the size of the clubs. But I feel like a game plan And it's the same for Newcastle. Like it's the same for every club. When you go in the market, you can have all the money in the world, but if you buy the wrong players, it's not going to work. And at the moment, Man United have got players that played under Van Gaal, Mourinho, and now Solskjaer. And I feel like, to his credit, Ollie did get the majority of them out that sort of didn't want to be there, the Lukakus, the Sanchez's. And that's underrated. And people look at Ollie's time and think, yeah, he did well, but he didn't quite get there. But he did a lot of good as well, not just on the pitch, but getting players out that didn't really fit the culture and just didn't want to be at the club and were on big wages and just wasn't playing on the pitch. So it's a case of we've had a massive restructure, and I feel like Ralph's the next guy to take it on. And we'll see what happens. But I'm sure no matter who comes in, whether Ralph stays or whether Ralph goes upstairs, he's going to take care of the recruitment. Quite excited about that.
I believe Manchester United give tolerance or was patient on wrong manager. Do you agree or not?
I think, yeah, probably. I feel like the problem Ollie had was he came in, he done well. We beat PSG, obviously, which was a massive win at the time when we knocked them out. And then we done it the year after, just saying. But, you know. And then we were going up the levels. And the issue with Solskjaer was he got to the point where they went out and they bought Sancho, they bought Varane, they brought Ronaldo back. And with that, I know I've spoke to you before about this, ain't I? When you bring in that level of player, the expectation level goes up. And the issue with that is Ollie didn't have the experience of having to try and win a title. He just had to do his best at Man U in the first 2 years. And in the second season, we finished second. COVID was a big, massive issue for the majority of the season. There was no fans. Did that help? I don't know. But playing in front of 76,000 fans every single week is pressurizing. Do you know what I mean? It's the same at St. James's Park, 55,000 fans cheering you on and they want you to give your best. And it's pressure when it doesn't go right. And I've been at Old Trafford where you've physically seen players just not being able to cope with the fans. And that just happens. Some players love that and some players thrive of it. But when you've got a new player that's coming in from Europe and all of a sudden 70 to 75,000 fans are booing because you're getting beat 1-0 at home to Everton, for example, it's a different kind of mentality that you've got to have. And if you're not a strong mentality player, it will eat you up. And I've physically seen it in the Aston Villa game and the Everton game that the fans just, when they were getting frustrated, it was going on the pitch, you know. So the fans are entitled to that, you know. Not every fan's going to be happy all the time, you know. And we pay our hard money to go into the stadium and we can voice our opinion if we feel like we're not getting back as much effort as we make. And that's just the way football goes. But it's just one of them things. I feel like that's just part and parcel of football, really. And that's just the way it goes. If you come to a club like Man United or Newcastle, forget Man United a minute, or Newcastle, there's a massive pressure because they have got a huge, massive fan base and a great fan base, but they also expect as well. We don't go into the stadium and just go, well, and I feel like that's what happened with Ollie. It's like that natural progression, and we got to the point where we're like, right, it's been 3 years now, we've bought X, Y, and Z in, let's go and win the title. And Ollie just wasn't ready for that. His staff wasn't ready for that, and it just completely fell apart. And it's unfortunate, and it is. Solskjaer's, I wouldn't say he's our equivalent of Shearer because he isn't, but it's like we have a proper place for him in our heart, and to have to say that we didn't want him anymore was really difficult, and it wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't easy, but I feel like after that Liverpool game, that was the time to go. And
it's
hard.
And I think Solskjaer did the best he can. Carrick, quickly, I want to talk a little bit about Carrick. You know, he did some games, great games, and he did some changes and some formation. Do you think was plan he did this? Maybe he thought will be offered temporarily job.
I don't know.
Contract.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. And I don't think that was the plan from everything that I heard anyway. That they were always going to go down an alternative interim, but I didn't know it was going to be Ranić. But I just feel like for the first time in the season, Carrick looked at the team we were playing and actually worked out what we need to do to play our game. And I honestly don't think that was the case with Solskjaer towards the end. We always struggled against the small teams under Solskjaer. If you look at his record, we've done quite well against the bigger teams. Obviously not this season. We got beat badly by City and Liverpool. But we predominantly always done well against, like, if you look at Ollie's record against Pep, it's quite good. You know? But I just feel like we were trying to counteract what the other team was doing. And sometimes it took us 20 minutes to work out what was happening in the game. Whereas I feel like Carrick went to analyze the opposition and thought, do you know what? If we play this game plan, I think that can counteract what they're doing. And it just showed against Chelsea. Like, we should have beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you know? So not a lot of teams are going to go to Chelsea and get a positive result, but we were unlucky on that day. I was absolutely gutted that we didn't come back with that 3 points because I think we deserved it. We wasn't very good in the first half, but in the second half, he tweaked a couple of things and we were playing on the counter-attack. And we were 1-0 up for a long time in that game. So I feel like I always say as well, and it comes back to basic coaching. I do it with my boys. You try and look at what the opposition are good at and then counteract it. And like that's kind of what we try and do at under 12 level. So it automatically can happen at a higher level of football. It's not as easy as that at under 12s because they're only young lads, you know what I mean? But I try and have a little look at what the other team are doing and try and see if we can maybe tweak a couple of, nothing major, don't get me wrong, maybe a little change of personnel here and there. But yeah, I just feel like he managed the game and he done really, really well. And he's obviously left the club now. What a fantastic player. What a fantastic man. It's a shame he didn't stick around, I suppose, because he's been Man United through and through for years. And he's obviously born in Newcastle as well. So he's got that little Geordie connection as well. But what a fantastic player. And yeah, he done fantastic. And I just think he needed a little break from football, mate. I generally do see him coming back in some sort of role somewhere. And I hope he gets an opportunity at maybe a championship club or something like that in the future. If Gerrard and Lampard and players can do it like that, why can't he do it? So I generally do hope. I would be supporting the team for him anyway, whoever he goes into, as long as it's not Manchester City or Liverpool. But I'm pretty sure he's not going to get them jobs anyway. But no, it's always nice to see like players come back and do well. And I feel like there's a lot of potential there with Carrick if he goes and learns his stripes, and because he's not going to get a bigger job than Man United, and if he can learn a little bit on the job and maybe go to like what Lampard did and maybe progress up and just take his time a little bit more, like Steven Gerrard's a good example. I wish him all the best. And yeah, he gave us a little bit of something different in them few weeks, and it was good, you know. We got some good results as well, which is the most important thing.
I think he will be a great manager in the near future. I can't believe first goal of Manchester United with Ralph was from Fred, and I saw Ralph celebrate. It was really funny.
I just thought it was funny when the team came out for his first game and he picked McTominay and Fred, and everyone was just like, but nah, you've got, the thing is though, like I'm sure if I was to speak to you about Newcastle's squad and I asked you to pick a team, you'd probably have an idea of who you wanted to play. But when a new manager comes in, it's just like a completely fresh start. So yeah, I try to have quality with Fred and just see how he gets on. And to be honest with you, in that high pressing game, he's a very useful player, and he's done quite well, to be honest with you. So I've criticised him when he's played bad, so I'm more than happy to say actually well done. And what a goal. God almighty, I was straight off my chair when that went in, that's for sure.
You know better your team, but I believe most of the problem of Manchester United is the depth in the defense. I saw Rice today, and I know Manchester United targeting him. Rice is an amazing player. He will be great for any. He need Manchester and Newcastle, of course, need this position and the style of he play forward. It's very rare to find a player who can play forward. Really, Rice, he's amazing, and Pogba, Fred, and the deep defense of the Manchester. I saw other teams easy to target since through the years target this weakness of Manchester United, and they have it always. They break this weakness. Point for Manchester. Okay, we'll go now to the plan. I saw this earlier, and I said when I look at that, I said, "Okay, Jimmy will explain."
You want me to explain this? So this is a 4-2-2 formation, yeah, which Rangnick likes, and it is a preferred formation in Germany. So what this gives you is solidarity through the midfield, because the defensive midfielders, or midfielders in this case, Fred and McTominay, are going to protect the back four. So when Newcastle have the ball tomorrow, we're going to press up the field with Rashford and Ronaldo to put pressure on a Pacific player. I don't know which player it will be tomorrow. This player back three, there will be a Pacific player that Man U target, and when they get the ball, we will press up the field. So Ronaldo and Rashford are there to put pressure on, and Bruno and Sancho will back them up. And when we get possession, they will both go wide. But this formation is narrow on when Newcastle have the ball. It's a very narrow formation to try and stop Newcastle playing through the midfield from the back four. And Telles and Dalot will give us our width in attack. So they will push up where McTominay and Fred are, just behind them, to try and pressure Newcastle into a certain space in the pitch so we can get the ball back quickly. This is what's obviously called a Gegen press. Liverpool do it very well in a different formation. But if you look tomorrow, I'm hoping it happens tomorrow anyway, I'm going to look silly. Man U will always try and get play out to the wings. So then we can push over on and overload a side of the pitch. But that formation is just to try and make it harder to play through the lines, because if you look at that formation, every single time you hit another line in the pitch, there's another couple of players there to try and press the ball. And our outlet players are Dalot and Telles. So I don't know whether that's explained that 100%, but I've tried my best there. So we've got 4 attackers when we have the ball, plus the width of Telles and Dalot. So if somebody's watching this and can see the screen, Dalot and Telles will push up, and McTominay and Fred will come narrow and make a block of 4 to help Lindelof and Maguire, and they can drop into the centre-back positions if Lindelof needs to go out and cover Dalot, or Fred needs to drop in and cover for Telles. So it all works. It looks a little bit of a funny formation, but it has methods to its madness, and it's a high-intensity pressing formation where there's a lot of players congested into one place to get the ball back as quick as we can. And the formation, when we're in possession of Bruno Fernandes and Jadon Sancho pushing out wide, they can come narrow. And if you look at Ronaldo and Rashford, they can go out wide to play a longer ball over the top. And then if they can get to the byline, so to speak, you've got Sancho and you've got Bruno Fernandes that can fill in and make late runs into the box. So it's got a lot of variation, a lot of movement in that team, but it's got a solid foundation defensively to allow us to be more proactive when we have the ball in attack.
Brilliant, Jimmy. But what about the weakness? I was told you about the deep or the depth in the defense, because Maguire, he's amazing in England, because he have Phillips, Rice in front of him. But here, he's have just Fred. I know McTominay is good, but he only have Fred. So how they cover this weakness?
I feel like they're going to play him because he's the captain. But if it was up to me, and based on the way Ralph likes to play his football, I think the best 2 centre-backs to complement each other for the way we want to play is Lindelof and Varane. That would be my centre-back pairing. But it doesn't mean they're the right two. It's just if I was picking the team and I wanted to play that high-pressing, counter-attacking game, because our centre-backs sometimes are on the halfway line to try and press the other team into their half. And probably not on the halfway line, maybe just behind it a little bit. But Lindelof has the ability to take the ball past McTominay when you see them now and go and influence the game and get the ball up to the forward line as quick as we can. Because Man United, and you'll probably notice it tomorrow, they play the ball into the front two very quickly and try and play off of him. So that's something I've noticed within the first couple of games under Ralph. That ball is getting directly played into the two wingers, and then the two players behind them and the midfielders are joining in the attack. So for the first time in a long time, Man U seem to have a game plan in and out of possession. And that's obviously a really important thing at high level football. And that we haven't had that for a long time. I don't feel. People might disagree with me with that, but I can generally see the game plan and what he's trying to do when we're out of possession and when we're in possession. So I think Man U will be more than comfortable for Newcastle to have the ball tomorrow and work them into a pressing position. And then, as I say, they'll have trigger points. They'll have players in the Newcastle team that they want to be on the ball. I know who I would pick, but I don't know who the lineups are going to be tomorrow. So they'll want players that are not comfortable in possession to have the ball, and that's when we'll press. So,
oh my God, it's going to be Shelby, isn't it?
No, Shelby can pass the ball. I think if Shelby's got anything to offer the team, it's his passing ability.
What's the Manchester United shopping list for January?
I think it's probably going to be a window where there's probably more outs than ins, to be honest with you. I don't think we'll do a lot of business. I think we might sign one player, but I don't think it's going to be like an elite player. It's not going to be like a Declan Rice or impossible. You know what I mean? And if you're going to try and sign someone like that, which I agree with you what you said earlier, he's a fantastic player. He's just a very expensive player, and he's English as well, which doesn't help when it comes to price. So I feel like they'll probably go down a route of maybe trying to pluck a couple of young players from Europe, like maybe people that are not necessarily at the peak of their game, but they can come and develop into a squad and maybe be a bit of a squad player and integrate themselves into the team in the smaller games in the league and stuff like that. I don't think we're going to go out and spend big, but I would like to see us bring a midfielder in. That would be an area, but we've been linked with an Argentinian striker as well, Julian Alvarez. There's quite a lot of noise around him. Although I did hear today from a quite reliable source that it wasn't actually true, the rumour. So I don't really know if there's legs in that one or not, or it's just the case of he's being linked with Man United to try and get him a move elsewhere. I'm not too sure, but that seems to be the cool thing to do nowadays. Mention Man United's name so your agent gets a move somewhere else. But I don't think we'll be busy. Maybe we'll definitely be as busy as you. But I feel like probably Marshall, maybe Lingard, maybe Henderson. These types of players might go in January. I'm not too sure whether
Lingard. Do you think he will go to West Ham or Newcastle?
I think if it come down to the two teams, he would probably go to West Ham because he knows what he's getting there and the fans love him already. But I do think it would be a good move for him up here. Financially, it would be a much more lucrative move for him, but I feel like he's probably more suited to go back to West Ham because he'll just fit straight in there. But they've went in the summer and bought some really good players. So I don't know. Is he going to go there and start straight away? I probably think he would, but maybe I'm just being a bit biased because he's a Man U player. But he doesn't have a future at Man United. I don't think. He's definitely going to play ahead of Bruno as that focal point number 10 in the squad. So I feel like it probably is the right time, but Newcastle should definitely be in the conversation because if he's available for a free, it would be a fantastic signing for Newcastle. But I'm not too sure, mate. I'm sure you would take him. I would like to see him up here, but The names I've heard for Newcastle is Sven Botman from Lille, very good left-footed centre-back, very comfortable on the ball. I think he'd be a really good signing. And Kieran Trippier is getting quite a lot of noise as well, which I think he wants to come back to England, wants to come back to the new Galacticos in the northeast. So I think that would be an intelligent move as well. He's got Premier League experience. He's an international for England. He would be an upgrade on Emil Kraft or Manquillo straight away. So I feel like that's probably an intelligent move from Newcastle. But to be honest with you, I'm just as excited as you about Newcastle's window, because I'm like, who are they going to bring in? Who are they going to be able to attract? And who are they going to be able to sell the longer term project? Because they're in a relegation fight. You know, they really are in a relegation fight. So it's a case of, I think they have to be wise. They need to make the right sorts of moves, and I'm sure they'll do that anyway. How is an intelligent manager in the transfer market?
Right, that was brilliant, Jimmy. As I'm saying, in the standing table, our condition is not great at all. I can see Southampton win today. Did you watch the game, Southampton West Ham?
I didn't know. I watched I only watched one game today, and that was the Celtic game. So I haven't seen any fixtures.
Yeah, I watched Southampton and West Ham, and Southampton, they really get what they need from the match. West Ham play very good, but Southampton really got, they score the chances they got. So now, I believe any team got 20 points now. And they are still in good condition. They are almost the double, the one who was in relegation battle. So now we're stuck with Leeds, Watford, Burnley, and Norwich. For me, Norwich gonna be down. Just thought, because and our worst situation, we draw with them, and we are -1 player. Burnley, they have still some games being postponed. This is maybe advantage, but I don't know if they are gonna work with themselves better in the transfer window. Are they gonna do, because any player for these 5 teams, any additional player or good player in the transfer window, it's gonna make a difference. So that's why I am optimistic about Newcastle, because I'm sure we are getting the best player among these 5. We're gonna pick maybe amongst the 20 teams. We're gonna best shopping list, because we are gonna bring any player will be good for Newcastle now in this situation. So Kieran Trippier, Lingard, maybe Coutinho, Butman, the name Trubisky, we hear about Trubisky. We're gonna bring almost half a team, and this half a team, I believe, they will make the table relegation battle table upside down. So I believe these 5. I can't see Leeds, even though they are not very good with Bielsa, but I don't think they are gonna be relegated. So I just hope Watford will be replacing Watford. This is actually my expectation. So about Newcastle, Eddie Howe, he trying his best. He came. Obviously, he have some touch, or his tactics and instruction become more familiar with the players. They are doing as much as they can. Some of, even here in Saudi Arabia, we are talking that he have good formation, good plan, but not good enough players. We usually with the Bruce, we were playing 5 at the back, also with the Graham Jones, and he trying to change this, and we believe all players become better. Maybe the only, this is the question, the only player he's not that better, like Saint-Maximin. We don't know actually what's wrong with Saint-Maximin. He improved a little bit lately, but not like he was the best performance only with Bruce, which is so irony. But the other players, even Jay Linton becomes superstar. Not for me, but for the most of the fans. Shelby become also better player, regardless his some of vital mistakes. Kieran Clark, he's playing with what he have, and he really he's supporting the players. He was so good politics he have. He said, I don't want to talk about transfer window. I want to focus on the player who they have still early. So he's a really smart manager, have experience. So I know you know him much more better than me. So I would like to hear your thoughts on Eddie Howe as a manager and the changes he's been doing in Newcastle.
Yeah, I think he was a good appointment. There was obviously a lot of talk about him before he came in, and I was probably one of the guys that are not in the Newcastle fan sort of base. Obviously, I'm an outsider, but I obviously take quite an interest in Newcastle, as you know, living in the city. I was all for the appointment. I like the way he looks at football. I like his football intelligence. I think he's a very good manager in the market. I think what he done with Bournemouth, if you look back from when they were in League One, is fantastic. He's got a way that he sees the game and how he wants his team to play from the touchline, which I think is really important now in modern day football. He likes good footballing players. He will know a certain type of player that he wants to bring in the window, which I think is important as well. And I think I don't know whether he's a manager that's going to be there longer term, to be honest with you. I don't know how. I know a lot of Newcastle fans would like to think that he's there for the next sort of 5-6 years, but I don't know about that, to be honest with you. But we're just going to have to sort of see where it goes, really. And I think for the here and now, he's a really good appointment. It's a bit of a risk because he's not necessarily had to deal with relegation fights all the time. I know he obviously did get relegated for Bournemouth, but before he got there, they wasn't in a relegation fight the couple of years before that. So it's a case of that was a little bit of a risk. But Newcastle obviously have done their homework. The Saudi ownership are very intelligent footballing people. They're not just going to give someone a job because the fans want. Obviously done their research on the guy. He talks really well from what I've heard of him. I think he comes across really well with the fan base. Everybody seems to be on board this Newcastle train going in the same direction, which is great from a fan base perspective, from an ownership perspective, and the players on the pitch. Everybody seems to be sort of together now, whereas that's not been the case under Ashley for a lot of years. He's been a breath of fresh air, I think, because Newcastle haven't been picking results up, but he's very much of the opinion of it's going to get there. They've got some really talented players in the squad. There's a lot of players that, in my opinion, ain't good enough in the squad, and I feel like they'll probably take a little bit of time to weed out. But he's bringing performances to the likes of Joelinton. Fraser looks a different player now. Almiron's looked good. So it's a case of there's a lot of positives there, a few negatives as well, to be honest with you. The fact that he isn't getting results, but that's going to happen when you've got a certain type of quality of player in the Premier League. The Premier League is ruthless, and if you're not up for it, you're going to get found out, and that's what's happening with Norwich. And I feel like Newcastle, and I don't mean to be disrespectful when I'm saying this, because I generally do believe it, and anybody that knows me anyway knows that I'm quite pro Newcastle anyway when they're not playing Man United. So I don't mean this in a nasty way. I generally think they're probably 3rd or 4th worst team in the league, you know. So and that's just me being honest, and I don't really like saying that because I wish they were doing better than they are. But I think they've got to be realistic. I feel like the fan base are being very realistic, and they're not expecting it to just happen overnight. This January transfer window's like a little bit of hope in this season, which is going to be very interesting. But I feel like the right man in. I feel like they're going to give him the tools that he needs to go and potentially stay up this season. But I think they've had a conversation with him to say, look, if we do go down, and the worst case scenario is if they do get relegated, he'll still be there next season. And I think that's really important. So there's longevity there. The finances are there. Everybody knows about the money situation. But as I say, you've got to buy the right players. And I'm confident enough that Eddie Howe will be doing his research now about who's available, who I can bring in, who's going to fit my system. Instead of just going out and buying a player, he'll be buying players that fit his system and fit his vision of how he wants his team to play. And I feel that's really, really important.
Regarding the last point you said, Jimmy, you said Eddie Howe will pick the players. What do you think exactly? Nick Hammond, the ones they signed for they signed Nick Hammond. His work was in Reading or Celtic as a director manager. What do you think is going to be role exactly in consulting? Consulting what exactly? I thought he was just doing the negotiating, but consulting?
I think he will probably be given a list of players from Eddie Howe. I feel like he will go out. I don't know. Is he a director of football? Is he? Has he been brought in as a director of football?
No, as a consultant.
A consultant
in the transfer window only.
I think he'll probably be brokering deals. He'll be given a list of players, and he'll maybe go and check availability of, I don't know, let's just say James Trukowski. He's been linked to Newcastle. Maybe Eddie Howe sees him as his centre-back partner, his centre-back signing he wants. So he'll go to Burnley and say, look, what's the situation with him? Is he available? Yes or no? No, right, he's not available. So let's move on. And now who else are we interested in?
So a negotiator, as a negotiator.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I would have to do my research on the man, to be honest, because I don't know too much about what he's done. I tend not to pay too much about the background of Newcastle, more the football side, like the team and the formations and stuff. So I'd have to do my research to give a proper accurate. But if he's coming in as a consultant, I presume he's going to just maybe help get deals over the line.
Yeah, this is consultant for the transfer window.
Yeah.
Temporarily,
right,
2 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Back to Eddie Howe also. I notice he's trying to do something different every game. Sometimes put Joelinton in the front, sometimes Joelinton in the back. Ryan Fraser on the right, sometimes in the left. Almiron sometimes in the bench. And he's really trying. Sometimes to play Hayden. He's really trying to to do the best he can in the team. He discovered the team game by game. For me, the best thing he did is back to 4 at defense. He's really brave to do this. As we can see, like Chelsea, Manchester with Carrick, they play 5. Remember Solskjaer Conte picture you sent me before. But so he played with the 4. He believed in this, and Ben said in Bournemouth his favorite plan formation was 4-4-2. So I just see he dare more with the days, because he know that transfer window is coming.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. From the games I have watched of Newcastle since he's been in charge, he's definitely sort of trying to work out who fits where, and maybe he's trying to work out who he trusts in certain roles as well. And I feel like to a certain extent, players have probably I'm not going to say let him down, but they're probably not adjusting that well to his style. I think Joe Willock is really struggling this year. Hayden, he's been a little bit hit and miss, although I do really like Hayden. I think he's a good player. But if you look at the formation you just had up on the screen a minute ago, and it goes back to formations, that 5 across the midfield can easily become a 4-4-2 in attack. So you need to have a solid base game plan out of possession and in possession. And I feel like Newcastle do that. They have conceded some sloppy goals, but that's not necessarily his fault. He has to take some of the blame, because he's picking certain players, which in my opinion, them 2 centre-backs wouldn't start in my team if I was picking this Newcastle team. But that's just my opinion, my interpretation of football. So that's just my opinion, which doesn't really mean anything because he's the manager and I'm not. But I don't feel like these two are the best centre-back pairings Newcastle have. In my opinion, Fernandes is the best centre-back at the club. I quite rate Shah as well, but if he's going to consistently pick players, there's clearly a reason why he's picking them. It's the same with Rangnick, with Maguire that we were talking about earlier. There's obviously a reason. He's seeing something in training that he trusts. And you have to have a balance in centre-back. Lascelles needs to offer something that Clark can't, because that's where a partnership comes in. Because if one's good at one thing and one's good at the other, they counteract each other and work as one, as a centre-back pairing, which is really important. And he obviously sees that in them too. I don't personally see it, but what do I know? He's the professional manager, not me. So we have to just trust what he sees every week on training and go with it. But that formation that you had on the screen a minute ago can easily become a 4-4-2. If you push Joelinton up with Wilson, that's a 4-4-2 when you're in possession. Yeah. And Willock and Hayden can drop in front of the centre-back pairing a little bit more deeper to allow Almiron and Fraser to push up and support more wider wingers. So you can look at a formation and analyse it in a lot of different ways. I mean, I could pick that formation apart now and I could completely have 3 or 4 different ideas of what you could do with that in and out of possession. But from a 4-4-2 perspective, you just push Joelinton up and Willock and Hayden go into a 2 then. And then you've got your flat 4 at the back, your 4 in midfield, and your 2 strikers with your out-and-out striker being Wilson, and he will run in behind. And Joelinton, you can play the ball into him because he's a target man and move the ball out for Fraser and Almiron. So there's definitely flexibility in that formation, and I've seen it as well. That's kind of what he's trying to get at. And it's intelligent management because he's going back to what he knows, but also trying to have a solid base when you don't have the ball.
That was against Man City. And previously, 2 days or 3 days earlier, he put Wilson in the bench and put St. Maximin as centre forward.
Yeah.
So he's
like
trying.
Maximum's a difficult one. Yeah, because I feel like he's probably... What's the best way I can put this?
He's unexpected.
I really rate him. Yeah, he's kind of like...
Unexpected. That's good.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of like a... what's the word? He's like a valuable player when things are going good. But he doesn't necessarily give you that defensive, hard-working sort of side of the game. He's a flair player, what I would call a flair player. He's a match-winning player that can just change a game in seconds. We've seen him do it time and time again. But sometimes that player isn't going to work in certain games when it's going to be really tight and you're only going to get a few chances. Against the Man City or Liverpool or teams like that, Maximum's probably not the player that's you're going to trust. Not because he's not a great player, he is, but you need to be like, you can't have any stragglers. You can't have like 10 players and 1 flair player. You've got to have 11 players that are sort of going to dig deep and get past the hard games. But then against your lower teams, Maximum can win games. He is definitely a luxury player, and I think Newcastle players would agree with me with that. And what a fantastic player. I absolutely love him. But he's frustrating as well because I feel like he's trying too hard sometimes. He has to prove all the time that he can do better and better and better. Wherever he simplified his game, he'd influence the team a lot more. But in an argument for him is he's not playing with players that are the same quality as him. So I feel like he probably is trying a little bit too hard and feeling like he has to carry the team a little bit at the moment, but he actually doesn't. He just needs to simplify his game up and work more for the team. And when he gets the opportunities to work in the right areas and get the defenders one-on-one, he can create chances all day long. I feel like Almiron's the same sort of player, وليد. Like they're very much, they can just turn a game very quickly, whereas sometimes you need to have a solid structure sometimes in the difficult games, and them types of players don't necessarily fit in sometimes. But in my opinion, every game for Newcastle, because he does have that ability to win games on his own with a one little bit of magic. But when you're in a relegation zone, sometimes them players can be more frustrating than actually helping the team. So it's a very difficult one, and I don't envy Howe, because you're kind of missing a player sometimes, but you know that one player can change the whole game in a minute. So he must be a fantastic. I would love to manage him. Do you know what I mean? Because I would love to manage him, because all I think he needs to do is simplify his game and just play in the right areas. When he needs to pass, don't beat 3 or 4. Just give a nice simple ball and go again, and do your work in certain types of areas. So that's my take on St. Maximin. I haven't watched him as much as you. You watch him every game, but he's definitely a luxury player, and I hope he doesn't start tomorrow.
Actually, you describe him very well. Only in addition, sometimes we feel, and as Newcastle fans, we feel like he more like little bit maybe, I don't know, is it selfish, or he can't pass very well? Maybe he's one of weakness. He can't pass. His passing is terrible, I believe. He's have skills, but the passing is not that good.
Yeah. I agree. But that's where the management. Do you know who he reminds me of? And it's probably a little bit out there, but he reminds me of Ronaldo when we first signed him. He's kind of trying to do a little bit too much.
Yes, but Ronaldo was lucky. He have a great coach to correct his mistakes and make him more professional. But St. Maximin, for 3 years, he have only Steve Bruce.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, he did well under Bruce. He played some really good football and got Newcastle some points. I remember he had a really good game against us, and I was just like, this guy is a nuisance, man, like when he's got the ball. But he's a great player, and I love watching him, because I do like that flair player. I like that style of play, you know. So, but he is a luxury player, and at the moment, like when you're down at the bottom fighting relegation, you need everybody that's willing to do the dirty work, and I don't necessarily see that with Maxi. I see so many people on Twitter. I have a lot of people on Twitter that are Newcastle fans, and I follow the majority of them back. And I see the comments on my timeline about, oh, Maximum, he shouldn't play this game. He's a luxury player. We need everyone in the same direction. And I'm kind of sitting reading, thinking, yeah, I kind of agree with that. But what a player! Do you know what I mean? And it's all about opinions, football, and it comes back to what we were saying about Carrick earlier. You've got to manage games based on who you're playing and try and put a formation into place that's going to counteract the other team and stop them playing, so you can then play your game. It's all a funny old game, this football, but certain players are not going to fit certain games. Remember when Carrick left Ronaldo out and everyone was like, is he for real? But he had a game plan, and Ronaldo didn't fit it. And Ronaldo and St. Maximin are completely different levels of quality-wise, but they're the same sort of ability that they can just change a game in a minute. So yes, Eddie Howe will be very wary of that, as I'm sure the whole Newcastle fan base will be like, yeah, well, Maxi's not in the team, but if he is in the team, we've got to have a chance, because he might beat 2 or 3 players and score a goal, and we might win 1-0. So it's such a hard one. Like, what's your take on him?
As I said, he's trying. You mean Maximin or Eddie Howe?
Yeah, Maximin.
He's a great, of course. He's a great player, very skillful. He helped us and saved us many times. But he used to play. And Steve Bruce. We were been judging Steve Bruce. That was the plan. Only plan is pass the ball to Maximin. He always depend on Maximin. And I remember Dwight Gales once. Some criticize and saying, "Oh, the savior is back." He meant Maximin, and not that. And it was, and you don't know, there was a message behind this sentence. So he played more like more individual, more than the team. Bruce fixed this at the end, I remember. But I think he like to be the star of the team. You know, I am the best player in the team. He still have me in the team, and this is just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is what I feel about him. But he's a great player, and he did a lot of brilliant goals last season and many seasons before. But this is the thing. I wish if Eddie Howe, I think he can fix this. But now we don't have, you know. It's very hard to fix things now. We want to be saved. It's like some manager come to collapsing, you know, some company before collapse, and they bring a new manager or headquarters just to save this company. It's the same thing. You can't come and fire people or change. Just come and save the company from broke down. And then you can fix it easily when you are relaxed, because now it's as I noticed, the new manager, the new owners, they are very careful not to make any mistake in any ways, in any way. He doesn't want to make any mistake. Same thing with Eddie Howe. He doesn't want to make any mistakes. When I look to face expression of Eddie Howe, sometimes you feel like he can't, sorry to say that, but he looks sometimes as hopeless. He tried everything. You know, it's like, huh? No.
Said hopefully tomorrow.
No. I don't want to, you know the chef, when he cook, he tried to cook things very good with the ingredient he have, but he trying to make best plate. He's trying very hard. Not like Steve Bruce. Okay, he just every manager in the world expects how he will play, but Eddie Howe, no, he's really tried to trick the opponent and try to do it different. But the tools he have still need some 3-4 players more. I think if he getting the right 4 players, I think he will be very great. And I would like to ask you, Jimmy, what do you think players we need, or the position we need? Because if you see this picture, we've been linked even to Santa.
Here we go, confirmed. Oh God, where do I start? I will leave. I think if you sort of analyse Newcastle's squad, I think keeper they're absolutely fine. I think Dubravka's a fantastic keeper. I think their backup goalkeepers are good enough for Newcastle anyway. They need a right back. It'd probably be the biggest position I'd strengthen if I was in charge, which obviously I'm not, but just going off of, I'll pretend I am for a certain conversation.
Because sorry, Jimmy, because as you said, right back, we try Fraser in right back, we try Jacob Murphy, we try Crafter.
Yeah.
Manquillo.
Yeah, Kraft. He wouldn't get nowhere near that team if I was in charge, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to him, but he's not a Premier League player for me. I don't like being disrespectful to footballers, so I'm not gonna sort of say they should get rid of him, but he wouldn't be in mass squad, I don't think. I think they need a right back. I definitely feel like he has to address that area, because he has changed it quite a lot, which tells me that he's trying to make something work until he can go and bring someone in. I do feel like the Trippier deal could have some legs in it. He definitely wants a move from what I'm seeing. He wants to come back to England, be closer to his family. That's the rumour anyway. And Newcastle would be a good project for somebody that's towards the end of their career, but's probably got a couple of good years left. He's playing a very high level of football at the moment, Champions League, so it would be a bit of a drop for him at the moment. But I feel like for any player looking at Newcastle, they've got to look at the bigger picture, not necessarily the here and now. And that's why it's hard to work in this window, because you do need players for now, but you also need players for the long term, because you don't want to be buying 3 or 4 29 to 33-year-old players just to come in and do a job now, and they don't have no longevity. They need to get it right, which is going to be hard. But the thing is, they've got the finances to get it wrong, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? They can afford to probably go and buy players for silly money on big wages that will keep them in the leagues. I don't think they will go down that route, but they could do if they wanted to. Centre-back's a massive area for me. I feel like Fernandez should have a centre-back partnership with somebody. Trzaskowski's been mentioned, players like that. Botman and Fernandez, you put them both in that team, goodness me, it looks completely different. You've got a Dutch international that's very comfortable with the ball. You've got an Argentinian international that's, in my opinion, a very good centre-back. He should play every single game for Newcastle, in my opinion. And you've got the likes of Shah, Lascelles that can sort of play them games when needed. But you go out, you buy Botman, you buy Trippier. Look at the back four already. Trippier, Fernandez, Botman, and from that you bought from
Fernandez. I don't know. Maybe you know this, but he have a issue, but it's not regarding his play. Something, something from management. I don't know what is it, but something not related, not football related.
Yeah, I've seen Steve talk about this a few times on his shows and stuff, and I don't really know the ins and outs of what's going on there. As I say, I can't stress enough, although I do watch a lot of Newcastle, and people that follow me on Twitter will know I tweet quite a lot about Newcastle and stuff like that, but I don't really know the ins and outs of everything. That's when I would have to sort of get some people that are maybe a little bit more in the loop on the club and what's going on with that. But from a footballing point of view, Newcastle need the best players on the pitch now. Like, they can't be like, oh, well, we've got issues with him. Like, sort it out. Do you know what I mean? Sit down, table, and sort it out so the player can be on the pitch, because Newcastle are a better team with Fernandez in it. I don't care what anybody says.
And I believe when we needed him in Norwich, he played.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, and he done well. Like, Newcastle should have won that game. I watched that game, and I was just as disappointed as you. I thought, how have they not beat Norwich? This is not a great Norwich team, but Pukki scored a very good goal, and the sending off, and it was just a bit of a mess. So on another day, Newcastle probably win that game, and then there's 3 points instead of 1. And it's that they're the margins. You've got to beat teams in and around you in a relegation fight. But that's the route out. He needs to strengthen that back line. If he doesn't do anything in this transfer window, he has to strengthen the back line, because Newcastle can score goals. They've got goal scorers. They've got Maximum. They've got Almiron. They've got Wilson that can create chances and score goals. Joe, well, Fraser can grab a goal. Willock can get a goal. They've got players that can get goals, and I've seen more of an attacking intent from Newcastle watching them recently, that they are creating chances, whereas they wasn't under Bruce. It was like, how long can we last without getting scored past? Whereas they are creating chances now. You look at the Man City game, so that's a good example. And when you've got Wilson in your team, you always nick a goal. Like, so it's that aspect of the team, although it does need strengthening longer term, that's not the massive issue for me. I think he needs to go out and address the defence for me, and maybe another midfielder. I don't know whether the Longstaff brothers have been playing much. I know one's out on loan in Scotland now, the younger one. So I don't know. I haven't watched Newcastle that much this season to warrant sort of understanding who's being picked, particularly when Howe's been here. I'm sure he can make it work with that midfield and strike force if he can get a solid base, because that's football, I will lead. Like, you can analyze everything to the hills and break down formations and game plans and stuff, but defensively you need to be not conceding goals if you're in a relegation fight. And if you're not conceding goals, you're going to win more games than you lose. So that's where Newcastle are at the moment. Points. And if you can go out there and buy some centre-backs and maybe a right-back and get a bit of stability in that back line, that's what it's all about, because you don't want to change your back line too much. You want a solid back line that can understand and work together. And I feel like Eddie Howe will be more than aware that he knows to strengthen that. If you look at his Bournemouth team, they didn't have the best players in the world in that team, but they all worked together as a team, that back line. And you've got to have teams on the pitch. Your defenders have got to work together. Your midfielders have got to work with your centre-backs. Your strikers and your wingers have got to work together. It's not just the formation, it's little combinations. And I feel like if you've got a solid base back four and a quality goalkeeper, which Newcastle are very lucky that they do have a quality goalkeeper, that's a very good foundation to go and get more points.
Do we need change or addition in defense midfielder and centre forward position?
As in January?
Yes.
I do think they need a backup to Wilson. I don't know what level of player that's going to be. I don't know whether it's going to be a short-term solution or a more longer-term striker coming in, maybe a younger striker. I would probably go for the more experienced striker. That's not want to come and play every game, but is there and available and brings a certain type of quality to the team if Wilson's injured, because they rely massively on goals from Wilson. And if he gets injured and Maximum gets injured and Miggy gets injured, you don't need it, do you? So I do feel like they need to bring in probably 5 or 6 players. But honestly, and I could be wrong here, so you're more than welcome to get me back on and give me a grilling if I get this wrong, but I don't think they'll sign more than 3 players. I think they'll get a right back, they'll get a centre back, and they'll get a backup striker.
Yeah, maybe, and I believe maybe it could be 4. There is a rumor, and I don't believe it, but it's very weird. And I want to ask you because we needed your help and advice. Igalo being linked to Newcastle. He's playing Saudi Arabia. I know he's there is 3 players score 9. They are first in the goal scorer in Saudi Arabia. He scored 9, same as another 2 striker. But Igalo, for God's sake, what do you think? Please, for me, I don't think this is going to happen. But Sky reported it, which is Please advise. Give them advice, please.
The one thing I will say about Igalo is he's probably not a fan signing. He wasn't at Man United, but I actually loved him at Man U. And understood he wasn't the best player and he probably wasn't going to play a lot. But see, when he did play, he'd give everything. And that's the one thing I will say about him. He lost a bit of pace. He was a little bit overweight when he first signed for us. And he lost weight. He was in good shape. He loved the club. He was always on the Instagram page. And he's a Man United fan, Igalo. So there's like stories out there, I'm sure you've seen them, that he actually supports Man United. So it was a dream come true for him. So the fans kind of liked that he supported the same club as us. And we kind of knew he wasn't at that level, but we were just going to try and get behind him anyway. And he'd done a job at Man United and he worked really, really hard for the team. And that's all you can really ask. And for Newcastle, I'm kind of with you. I don't really think that it's a deal that they need to do. I think there's probably better players out there that would be more longer term, but don't be surprised if something like that does happen, وليد, because Rafa done it with Rondon when I thought Rondon was finished. When Newcastle signed him, I was just like, oh my God. But he came in and he done a job and he worked hard and the Gallagher loved him. And they still do love him. To the point where they wanted him back before he went to Everton. And I was just like, that's not a deal that I want to be seeing at Newcastle. But a lot of players were like, well, we know what we're getting. And with Igalo, he's not going to be the fan favourite. The fans are not going to be going and getting Igalo on the back of their tune tops. But he worked hard. And he's an option, and he will always be in good shape physically to come on and make a difference. And he's a very good target man if you need to play a more longer game. So I haven't seen that rumour, but obviously you said Sky have got it, so that's an interesting one. But it wouldn't surprise me if he does bring in some players like that. I honestly wouldn't.
What did Igalo did for Manchester United? Because I recall, and it's easy to play when you are ahead or you score 3 or 4 goals, and you bring a player from in the bench and score the number 5 goal. And this is easy. And did he save Manchester on some occasion?
No, he didn't. He didn't save. He didn't save Manu, but he came on.
How many goals you score if you remember?
He only scored 1 goal. Yeah, so that's what you're getting. But you got to remember, like, he ain't going to be playing at that level of football. Do you know what I mean? So he wasn't getting a lot of games for us. Whereas I feel like if he came in at Newcastle, and if anybody's listening to this, I'm not trying to sell Igalo to Newcastle, by the way.
No, you are.
If he did come, I can promise you now, he would work really hard when he's on the pitch. He's in very good shape, like athletic-wise. He's fit, and he would run as much as he possibly can for the shirt. And you can remember I said this, I think the fans would like him for his effort. He ain't going to score you loads of goals, but if he's coming off the bench with like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go, he's definitely got about him. He's an intelligent footballer. But you'll know it. I know you're from Saudi, and I don't know the level of the Saudi league, but if you're playing in Saudi Arabia and you're 30 odd years old, it's probably a great standard of league to be playing in at that age. When you come into the Premier League, it's a completely different ball game. But I honestly do think Howe might bring players in like that. They're a little bit older, just to try and get a little bit more squad depth, a little bit more experience. And if Igalo comes to Newcastle, he'll bring that Premier League experience with him. He's not a world beater, but I don't think he's any worse or any better than Rondon, to be honest with you. Newcastle fans might be laughing at me now saying this guy's clueless, but that's what I believe. I think their target men, Rondon's a better goal scorer, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. That's an interesting one. I'll have to keep an eye on that.
I wish if Igalo
I can see you wanting.
No, I wish if he stay at Al Shabab club in Saudi Arabia and help them to get near the league. So I don't think, but maybe if the Sky and there is good source, maybe as a loan, maybe as plan D, for example, who knows? But hopefully there is better choice, as I say.
Can you not get some of them Saudi connections and get Gomez over here? No.
Even Gomez, he's so old now. He can't do it. I think
good player back in his day, wasn't he?
Yes, exactly, amazing. But yeah. But I don't know what to say in English. But the age have rule, really have rules. Yeah. So that was brilliant. Let's finish with the comments. We have few comments and question here, maybe. Thank you. This account saying you are enlightening the show. Thank you. Merry Christmas, Keith. Lovely video of Amanda thanking the new fans today. Yesterday.
Yeah, very nice.
Bixen says when Newcastle deals start, some of the fans said, "Where is the player? No signing." They didn't understand. We must wait the January.
Everybody wants that Saudi money to be spent, don't they? That's what they want.
طبعا كل الصفقات بيكسل ما راح تبدا الا في يناير، يعني الحين ممكن تفاوضات، لكن ما راح يقدر اي فريق في الدوري الانجليزي يوقع ويبدا لاعبين الا في بدايه يناير. That's for you, Jimmy, from Keith Moore. Do you think the tune will stay up?
I seen a comment earlier actually with him wishing us Merry Christmas. So just a little mention for you, Keith. Keith, Merry Christmas to you and your family, mate. I hope you had a lovely day yesterday. Festivities with your family. With regards to the question, do I think they will stay up? I do actually. I hope they stay up. Because I feel like they've got a great platform to go on now and be a proper club over the next couple of years, which doesn't really help if they get relegated. But I do think they're in trouble. I'll be honest, Keith. I do think they're in trouble at the moment. The equaliser for Newcastle is the finances and the window coming up. If Newcastle didn't have January and they didn't have the firepower in the transfer window to go out and make international signings now, I don't think they would survive. But I do think they will. And as I did say earlier, I do think they're probably the third or fourth worst team in the league. But that's based off this current squad. You go and you buy a Trippier, a Botman, like we've been speaking about earlier on. If you've been watching the show, thank you very much for staying with us for and foremost. But a couple of signings can make that team much better very quickly. So when you go out and buy international players, they automatically raise the standards of the rest of the squad. And I think Burnley, Watford, Norwich, Leeds to a certain extent ain't going to have the same firepower in the market as Newcastle are. I don't worry for Burnley. They're not having a very good season, but they always pull results out towards the end of the season. So I think they'll stay up. So it's a 4-horse race for me. I'm expecting Leeds to go and probably make a few signings, but they spent a few quid in the summer, so I don't know what the situation is there with regards to if they can go and strengthen. But we all know that Newcastle can, and that's the glimmer of hope in a very dark tunnel at the moment for the season. The glimmer of hope is that big war chest that the Saudis have got available, and if they can attract the right players that believe in the project, but also for a relegation fight, because let's be honest here, they're going to have to sell it to the players because they're not in a good position. They're not chasing Champions League, and you can attract the best young players in Europe because they want to maybe get in the Champions League, worst case Europa League. They're in a relegation fight. So I have more than enough confidence in Howe from his time at Bournemouth to know he'll be sensible in the market. He won't just go flinging money around. He'll bring the right players in, and I do think they'll stay up. And I, for one, will be very happy if they do.
Expectation for a game tomorrow, Jimmy. Is it going to be a draw, easy win for Manchester United?
It's not going to be a draw. Come on.
Surprise. What do you think could happen?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a strange game. Yeah, it would be nice, Ben, definitely. Particularly Botman, very good player. I don't know if I would sign Trippier, to be honest with you. I don't think he'd be my pick. What do I know? What do I know about football? Maybe he'll be a great signing. So we'll have to wait and see. But it's exciting to go into a window for Newcastle, Ben, and have that money and you not know who's coming in. So hopefully you're looking forward to it, mate. Going back to the game tomorrow, I'm expecting a difficult game. I think the atmosphere, for one, will be electric. I'm probably going to get a couple of hand signs waved in my direction from Newcastle fans, which will be quite funny, to be honest with you, because I've never been in the away end, as I mentioned earlier, and obviously this is my team here, so you can imagine what's going to happen tomorrow. But look, I'm optimistic we're going to beat you tomorrow. I think we've got too much quality. I think we're tactically going to be better than yours, and eventually we'll be able to grind you down, and we have too much quality to not create chances. And I feel like with Newcastle's back four at the moment, we're going to get to win the game. As long as we're defensively solid and we're good out of possession, I think we'll win. We'll win comfortably tomorrow. That can come back and bite me on the backside maybe, but I'll just go and hibernate for a few days if Newcastle win. So it's all right. But
what about?
I think we'll probably have a little bit too much quality tomorrow, but it's the only time our lead knows this. All the boys at Toon Talk know this as well. And if anybody in the comments follows me on Twitter, thank you very much, first and foremost. But you'll know I like Newcastle. I can't lie. I do have a soft spot for Newcastle. But tomorrow that goes out the window, and that goes out the window twice a year. And me and our lead always do these shows, and we always laugh about this. But
your window is your windows are closed.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but
okay.
What do you think?
I think Manchester United, after COVID situation, late practice, maybe some issue with the stamina. Who knows?
Do you know who I think might be the difference tomorrow? Mason Greenwood.
Oh.
Star boy.
He's the man of the match.
He's brilliant for his age, mate. People talk about Haaland, but he's phenomenal as well, mate. Absolutely phenomenal for his age. He's up there. Like I'm not going to say he's the level of Wayne Rooney at that age, but what a fantastic player. We have got an elite, world-class young player on our hands. Like, and the majority of people just don't know it yet. If you watch the boy, he's so intelligent with his movement. His finishing ability,
you're right.
Unbelievable.
You are right. But the problem, Manchester still not that solid team.
Yeah. I think the lineup will tell me as much as I need to know tomorrow, mate. How many people's been hit with COVID? If players are not available, there's rumours that Donny didn't train a couple of days this week. If he's not on the bench, he's obviously not good. So that'll show me. But
what does Luke show? I noticed he's away for a while. Injured?
He had a knock, yeah. But I generally think the game that he did play, he didn't play that well. So Telles and Dalot give us a different type of game. Defensively, they've been very good, which we haven't been all season. But Saka and Luke Shaw's defensive work hasn't been that great this season, so he's changed it up. Lindelof looks very comfortable being a more progressive ball-playing centre-back. Varane's back. So the lineup will tell me a lot tomorrow. I'll give you a WhatsApp as soon as the lineup comes out and tell you how the game's going to go from my perspective. I might not be right, but we'll have a little bit of a chatter on WhatsApp anyway. But I don't know. The lineup will tell me a lot. I don't know who's had COVID. I don't know who's not fit. I'll have to wait tomorrow. And I was going to go down. The team stay next to my work in town, and I was going to go down and see if I could meet the players. And if COVID wasn't bad, I would have went down to see whether I could meet a couple of them. But with COVID being the way it is, the players wouldn't be allowed nowhere near me. So it's a case of I left it, unfortunately. So maybe next season. But yeah, your lineup's going to be just as interesting as mine. I'm looking at Newcastle's lineup and thinking, right, where can we exploit this? And it'll be interesting, mate. Very interesting.
Exactly. And for me, I had expectation before. Either Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, we will get some point. So we lose Liverpool, we lose Manchester City. So my expectation only will be true tomorrow. So I believe something.
I don't think.
I believe we could get something.
Oh, you can 100% get something. Like nobody. Let's be real. Nobody wants to come to St James's Park at a late night kickoff. They just don't. Like that. That atmosphere is going to be electric. Like our away fans are fantastic as well. So the ground's going to be very, very noisy. I'm sure you'll have some nice, pleasant songs to sing at us as well, which will be nice. And we'll be in the heavens at the top of the stand. But I'm really looking forward to it. And it's, as I say, I don't usually go to St James's Park and not want Newcastle to win. So it's going to be an interesting feeling for me tomorrow. But I'm more than confident that it'll be a good game. And hopefully we can come out with the result, because I don't want to be coming back out of that stadium with that WhatsApp group of viewers beat us, that's for sure.
Oh, so please, be easy on us if things doesn't go our way.
No, it's look, there's bigger games than this one for Newcastle this season. So if you lose to us tomorrow, I don't think the fan base will be like, oh, nah, doom and gloom. I don't mean to be disrespectful here, but I don't think Newcastle fans are expecting to beat us anyway. Of course, you will have hope that you can beat us, and you can beat us, but we're favourites, ain't we? We're favourites to win the game, and Newcastle season isn't going to be defined by tomorrow night. There's a lot of games to play, and there's a big transfer window, so it's a bigger game for me living in Newcastle than it is for a lot of people. Really, it's a massive fixture because the teams don't like each other, but we're just going to have to wait and see, mate. I think it will be a great game, to be honest with you.
Last question for you, Jimmy. Do you think the referees against Newcastle lately, they are so, I don't know how to say it, a lot of mistakes, or no benefit of the doubt, not for Newcastle. Clear penalty like Fraser we didn't get.
Yeah, that was naughty.
Something fishy about this.
I don't think there's a conspiracy. I can definitely see where you're coming from. I think some decisions, even I've sat on my couch and thought, how has he not give a penalty there? Do you know what I mean? Against Manchester City, particularly, how is that not a penalty? And it's just, I don't know. I don't think there's a conspiracy about sort of getting one over on Newcastle. But I can understand where the fan base is coming from and why you think that. But I just feel like if Newcastle can stop the silly mistakes, I feel like they'll start picking up more points because they're not a bad team. They're not a great team, but they're not a bad team either. They've got players that have got ability in the right system, which Howe will definitely get, particularly when he brings players in. They'll get there, but it's just very difficult that they're like looking up a hill instead of coming down the hill. And they're trying to sort of, any point at the moment, just stop the mistakes. If you work out in the last 5 games how many defensive mistakes has led to goals, I mean, if you think of the Clark one against Man City, what is he doing? Do you know what I mean? He just leaves the ball and lets it bounce over his head.
Steve have a theory. He said maybe Dubravka says keepers.
Yeah. I think that's probably what did happen, but it just went horribly wrong, didn't it? But
yeah,
they're elite level footballers, He won't be making that mistake for nothing. Although it's really bad on telly, there'll be a reason why he's had a call in his ear, or you've played football, I've played football. We hear stuff and we just react to it straight away. And at that elite level, you make one little mistake against the Man City, you get punished. That's just the way it happens. But I feel like if they can get that out their game, they'll be fine. They just need to sort of use the ball a bit better. Don't play in the wrong areas. Play when you've got the ball in an attacking phase of the pitch instead of trying to pass around the back 4. You're not a passing team at the moment. Get the ball out of the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And play to your strengths. And I feel like it's difficult because Howe does like to play passing football, but the issue is he doesn't have the players, like you said, to be able to play that game at the moment. So just keep it simple sometimes, and simple football gets a point here and 3 points there because you've been solid defensively and can make a massive difference, but that's my take on it, mate. Anyway, in your retro anyway.
I just come to my head some account on Twitter, he trying to be funny. Every loss for Newcastle, he put Steve Bruce with a kebab sandwich. He said, bring me back. Oh my God, I don't want to see this tomorrow. That was a brilliant night, Jimmy. We really appreciate your
no problem,
being with us. We really enjoyed your insightful for the games, and we're really expecting great game tomorrow, and we wish to have fun and 3 points for Newcastle. Thank you, Jimmy, for coming tonight. Appreciate your thoughts, and we hope to enjoy the game tomorrow. Have a good night. Thank you for listening, and join us tomorrow. Any Jordi, any Newcastle fans in Riyadh, join us in Sofiq Cafe, our headquarter for Saudi Supporter Club, tomorrow 11 p.m. Saudi time. انضموا لنا في الغد إن شاء الله. مقر رابطة نيوكاسل سوفيق كافيه في حي قرطبة لمشاهدة مباراة نيوكاسل مع مانشستر يونايتد. تقريبا هذه يمكن تكون آخر مباراة في هذه السنة، فيما يبدو مباراة إيفرتون سوف تؤجل حسب الإشاعات. عروض خاصة، نتمنى حضوركم في الغد إن شاء الله، ليلة مميزة. وشكرا لكم لاستماعكم أو مشاهدتكم اليوم برنامجنا مع المدرب جيمي ماكاي. تصبحون على خير.
Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, 'cause it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne. Take me home to the place that I call mine. It's a place I love best, yes, it's better than the rest. Take me home to the banks of the River Tyne.
بالنسبة لما يجيك ستيف بروس مثلا يحط لك 5 في خط الدفاع ويلعب مهاجمين.
Excuse me,
اللاعبين اللي في النص.
what is your VPN?
My VPN?
Yes.
My VPN is Spider VPN.